Hey everyone, so I decided with my channel that I want to focus a little bit more on a specific skill set, and that is time management. Just to be clear on what I mean by that, I consider time management to be the ability to make choices and engage in behaviors that will effectively enable you to reach goals by, of course, managing your time. Now, it's a pretty straightforward concept if you look at it from the outside. You schedule things, you make the time, you do the things, you accomplish things. But why is time management so difficult for so many people? Well, I think it boils down to two things really. One is a bit more obvious than the other, so I'll start with that one. And that is people aren't really sure what their goals are. And the reason they aren't sure what their goals are is because they're not sure what their priorities are. So very often we're kind of reactionary towards the things we need to do in the day. We look and we say, well, what needs to get done first, most quickly, or maybe what's easiest, or what's going to affect us if we don't do it soon. And while that's an important consideration, I would say it's not the penultimate consideration. The penultimate consideration will be what is going to affect my life down the line. What do I value? So really getting a handle on your priorities is a key to being good at, well, not being good at, but being able to take time management skills and make them actually useful. The second big piece, though, is that time management is a trade-off because particularly in this contemporary world we live in, there is essentially an infinite number of things you can do at any given moment. Particularly when you have free time, which is when most people have the most difficulty making good decisions. But we are faced with the reality that time is limited. Our time is limited, and therefore our choices are limited. So every piece or every segment of your free time is a trade-off. I'm going to do A, which means I don't get to do B, C, D, E, F, ad infinitum. So when faced with that, often unconsciously, it's distressing, knowing it's that FOMO, as they call it. If I do A and so I don't get to do B and C, what does that mean, or what's going to happen? So there's a fear of making the wrong choice as well, because when you have free time, that's when you can enable your freedom. You can decide what to do with it. And the sad thing about humans is that often when we're hit with distress, rather than doing something we should do, or maybe deep down want to do, we do instead what makes us feel good, which is, something distracting. So often that's watching a TV show on a streaming service or engaging in social media for way too long and that kind of thing. But it's really key that we face this reality. We come to grips with it. The idea that by distracting ourselves, we have made that choice. And it's very likely not going to be a choice that we're going to be happy with down the line. And instead, that's what we need to ask ourselves. So we're putting the two difficulties together into one solution, which is, a year from now, 5 years from now, what am I going to be glad I chose to do in this moment? And whether that's exercise, studying, reading a book, working on a video, working on your own channel, it's almost always something that requires creativity, effort, production, that kind of thing. So, a couple things to consider when trying to improve your time management skills. Hope that was helpful.